Yo, Facebook, YouTube, Miles here. Back. Been a while since I've done a video like this. It's been quite a while. This video is a bit of an open letter from me. This past 12 months, for those of you that don't know, I've been off social media. My account's got hacked, and that's only part of the reason why I've been offline. And I wanted to kind of talk about this concept, this feeling of being stuck. And I want to kind of share some things that are very, very open, real, vulnerable, things I've not really shared before, that I just want to put a disclaimer on them, and not in any way intended to gain sympathy, but are more intended for you if you have in any way felt stuck. So just over a year ago, I was going through a really, really challenging period emotionally, and I didn't really know what I didn't know. I didn't really know what was going on. And I made a decision to start having therapy. And then I joined a men's therapy group. And what happened is it made me realize very quickly that the fundamental problems that I had were around an inability to emotionally regulate myself, an inability to communicate what I was feeling without it being about blaming another person, without it being about a story of, something in my past happened and all of a sudden, I need to point fingers and blame. And to cut a very, very long story short, although this video probably is going to be a long story in hindsight, very quickly in the therapy sessions and in the men's group therapy sessions, I was able to recognize that I had a pattern of thinking that was stuck in the past. I had a pattern of thinking that was attached to thinking that my life should be a certain way, or had a pattern of thinking that said the people in my life should be different than how they actually are. And so deep down, that was causing me to have a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of pointing fingers, a lot of blame. And just to be clear, none of that has completely gone away. All right, just to be clear, none of that has completely gone away. But what I couldn't do over a year ago that I can do now is I can speak about it and be more open and transparent about it. And I think that the first step to, and I don't want to say the word change, because one of the things that I've been really learning about over the past year is the dance between what to change and what to accept. Because I think I know I'm guilty of, maybe you can relate, of not always knowing what should I change and what should I accept. So for example, I come from a fitness background, many of you may know this, and in the fitness world, it's all about change, right? It's all about change. It's all about change your body, change your health. It's all about change. And on one hand, I think that's really healthy, because I do have a firm belief that there's a lower probability of ill health, lower probability of mental health problems, lower probability of heart attacks and strokes and all this kind of stuff if you have good health. And sometimes people would come into the gym and their health would not be good. So obviously we would work on change, right? But on the flip side of change, I think, is And the other side, I think, is acceptance. So where I've struggled, where I found it challenging, is if I step out of fitness language for a minute, growing up without a father, it was unconscious, and now I'm very conscious of it, a really high need for validation, approval, external praise, and really just other people to validate me before I did anything. And it's still something that I'm in today. It's not gone away yet. I'm not going to pretend that it has. I think I had it running before I got on this video. It was definitely present before I got on this video. I'm in this moment, in this right now, because we're talking about it. I'm less conscious of whether, if you're watching, you're validating me for doing this, but I'm aware that it's still a pattern. It's still there, right? It's like, and please forgive me if this is an analogy that offends you. It's not intended to offend, but if someone is an alcoholic and they stop drinking, the suggestion is generally that they don't be around alcoholic environments, because that could create the desire for alcohol again, right? So I don't think the pattern of needing validation and approval from other people is ever going to go away. However, what I've been working on and learning to do over the past 12 months is to be more accepting of that part through things like shadow work, inner child work. And I can tell that in and of itself, just what I just said there was constrained, because I just noticed myself just do a breath that was really deep. I just said it and was like, oh, that feels good to say that out loud. Learning to accept that there is a shadow part of me, childlike part of me, that needs validation, approval, to know that I'm enough, that wants likes and hearts to this video, that wants people to view it, that wants people to reach out and say, oh my God, Miles, that was great. Like, I have for a very long time been trying to make that part of me wrong. So like many years ago, when I got into personal development, especially found the work of, say, Tony Robbins, it felt to me that the work was fundamentally about change. And actually, one of the things where I had an inner battle was around this model that Tony teaches called the 6 human needs, which states that we all have 6 human needs, and one of those needs is significance. And what became evidently clear to me was that I had a very, very, very high need for significance. I needed to know that I was loved and validated and approved of, going back to childhood, just not having that as a nurturing thing, right? One of the things I'm also very conscious of in doing this video is that my mum may see it, and I'm very conscious of, one of the things I've learned is, and I definitely have observed this for myself, and maybe if you're watching you can relate, is it's really important, I've found, for you to speak what you feel, and if your intention is good, that you don't suppress it for fear of offending or upsetting. Yeah. So for example, I know my mom may watch this video and she may receive this as she's bad or done bad or is bad or whatever, right? But that's not my job to protect her from that, because what I've learned is many of us are running patterns of thinking that often are around the need to feel significant. And actually, if I do something to offend someone and then I say, oh God, that was my fault, what I'm doing is I'm reinforcing that pattern of significance, right? So really important to know, and Sati said this to me recently, like it wasn't an argument, but we had some conflict when I was away, and she found it a bit tough because I was away for a couple of days, and in the morning, because she's just incredibly self-aware, right? She said, "It's not your job to save me." And what I loved about that is because I truly believe it's no one's job to save anybody. And so going back to where was I? I was talking about the significance piece. I made significance like almost dirty. Like I almost made it dirty. I almost made it like I must eliminate that human need. I will make my life about the 5 human needs, and the 6th human need of significance is a dirty word. I will no longer seek validation and approval from other people. The problem with that is it was just another form of being significant, because all I was doing was saying, I'm not going to go on social media because I don't need the significance that comes with posting videos. So all I was doing was getting another form of significance, but it wasn't a form of significance that was actually adding any value. It was more of a holier than thou. I'm so above social media. I'm so above that I will not be there at all. And that's the problem with sometimes. In fact, I'm going to reword that. That's not the problem. That's the challenge with when you start to learn things about yourself. It's like opening a Pandora's box, but once you've seen what you've seen, you can't unsee it, right? So there's this saying I love, which is, you know what you know what you don't know. It's the things that you don't know that can often cause you the most harm. The problem is when you know what you don't know, you can't unknow that. So, like, I didn't know a year ago that I was unconsciously running. I was really, really emotionally unregulated, and I was feeling really angry about a lot of stuff from the past because I'd never released what I was feeling. I'd intellectualized what I was feeling. I've been on the seminars and read the books and listened to the podcasts. I can intellectualize emotional intelligence till I'm blue in the face. You know, heck, I'm an accredited master coach trainer, for God's sake, right? I've had thousands of students go through our coaching program. So I'm fixed. No, I'm not. But here's what I will say. I'm not broken either, and neither are you. If you're watching this video thinking this resonates, am I broken? No, you're not. There's nothing fundamentally wrong. Going back to the original point for this video is, if you are stuck, it may be because one of 2 things is going on. One, you're unclear about what you need to change and what you need to accept. And I think it's a combination of both. For me, here is the way and I'm saying it on video because, for full transparency, part of the reason I'm doing this video is because I'm out of a habit of doing video because I was getting significance in an unhealthy way from not doing content. So I was feeding myself saying, oh, you know what, it's been too long since I've done video. And also, whenever I start doing video, I'm never consistent. And you know what? I may not be consistent with this. I often say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it. And I can accept that. As painful as it's sometimes been, I can accept that. Because a mentor said to me recently, he said, you kind of beat yourself up a lot, don't you, for the you don't do what you always say you're going to do thing. I said, yeah, because there's a lot of areas where I don't do what I say I'm going to do. Like I'll say I'm going to do an event and then I don't do it. Or I say I'm going to do Facebook Lives every day and then I don't do it. And he said, but what about the fact that you've been married for like 8 years and you've been consistent and loving and faithful and always looking to improve and grow in your marriage? What about that? What about the fact that you now have 2 children and you are consistent in their life in the way that maybe you didn't have that growing up? What about your health and fitness? You're pretty consistent with that. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Maybe you can relate. I spend a lot of time focusing on what's wrong, i.e. with me, rather than what's right. Maybe you can relate to that. Let me know if you can. I spend a lot of time focusing on what's wrong with me, rather, i.e. not accepting parts of me that are the dark parts, rather than, and instead either try to change it or make it wrong. And so when I talk about change versus accept, I think there is for me, the healthiest way to deal with that is to change in a way that is about growing and giving, meaning every day look to grow, every day look to help somebody else. But also know that if you have a day where you don't do those things, but you're aware of that you don't beat yourself up for that. Because inside you, there is a little child that still lives on to this day. And every day you beat yourself up for the things that you don't do that you say you're going to do, you are harming that inner child. And I think the worst thing that we can do in life is to harm our inner child. I think it's the worst thing. I did a meditation this morning. I did an inner child meditation, and I got this really strong visual. Me and my mum lived in this flat in Birmingham as a kid, and got this really strong visual of like me now in the flat, sat next to the like probably 7-8-year-old version of me who was like playing video games. And I stroked his head and kissed him on the cheek. It was really nice. It was really nice. So I hope this video helps in some way. I hope it's useful. I hope it resonates with you. One thing that I want to kind of finish by saying is there are probably a lot of people that may be watching this that are in our community, our Master Coach community. And one of the things I want to kind of say is that over the next 12 months, my intention is for our business to change, because I feel, and you know what, I may lose people in our community for this, but I'm going to say it. I feel that our business up until this point has been quite transactional due to I take responsibility, due to a business partnership that I was in, where, not in a wrong way, no judgment, but the person that I was in partnership with wasn't as mission focused as I was. Like it wasn't his mission. It was a way to generate money and pay for his lifestyle and hopefully give him a great life and all that kind of stuff. That was never my primary intention for setting up my business. And so moving forward, although I know, for a business to work, that it has to generate revenue, because if it does generate revenue, you can reach more people through paid advertising and all that promotional stuff, etc. I don't want to make that, I will not make that the primary driver for the business anymore. So if you're watching this video and you're in our world, I really hope this resonates. I can be really open and transparent and say it would mean a lot to me if you replied, more so to let me know what this video did for you. But I definitely can say that my intention for this video, one of my intentions, like the hidden agenda for this video, is I want more people to know me, like me, trust me. I want more meaningful relationships. Like I want that. And it feels good to accept that that is important to me. Because as a kid growing up, when I look back and I talk earlier about how I would say yes to everything and, you know, a few minutes ago I was talking about, you know, not always doing what I say I'm going to do. When I think about me as a kid, I wanted to do everything. Like I wanted to play with everybody. I wanted to go everywhere. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to do everything. And so as an adult, I've made that part of me wrong that says yes to everything. That says yes to everything. And then there's a part of me, the adult part of me, that gets overwhelmed by the idea of saying, doing everything, then goes, oh, actually, in retrospect, I don't think I can do that, and that. So I've kind of made that part of me wrong, when in actual fact, it's actually just a really, really, really enthusiastic little boy that just wants to be loved, wants to connect, wants approval, validation, wants to make a difference in the world, and just wants to just share love. I could say more, but it feels like a natural place to end. So that's it. Yeah, again, I hope you found this useful, relevant. Hope it's added value to you in some way. Will there be more videos like this? Who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to make bold claims and say that this is going to be every week or this is going to be consistent, because I'm just not. And I'm going to make it okay to not commit to something that I'm not sure yet if I want to commit to. You know, I'm going to detach from that and just be with this. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Love to hear from you. Big love. God bless. See you soon.